Major trades could be incoming for the Toronto Raptors as rival NBA executives believe if the ship is not right in the coming weeks, there will be some major blow-ups, some major fireworks happening in the Toronto Raptors front office, which will lead to some major moves. So we'll break down everything in that report, as well as some disrespect to Scottie Barnes has gotten absolutely out of hand. So we'll discuss that as well as some other Toronto Raptors updates. So a bunch of stuff to dive into. Without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Hello everybody, Ben Malgis here, the Raptors Digest, breaking down the latest Toronto Raptors news, and we have a lot of stuff to cover in this video. So the first thing we're taking a look at is NBA executives bracing for a major blow-up from the Toronto Raptors. Now, this Raptors team has dealt with a lot this season. They've had a lot of guys injured. They still have a couple key bench players injured right now, Precious Achiuwa and Otto Porter Jr., but we thought we got through the storm. We actually played pretty well considering half of our starters were out on any given night there for 3 weeks. And then we got everyone back into the lineup. The schedule even got a little bit easier. And then there were expectations for this team to take a major jump. You know, I've been predicting top 3 seed this entire season. I thought this recent stretch of games we'd be able to, separate ourselves from the pack. The same way the Milwaukee Bucks and Boston Celtics have at this point, even to a lesser extent the Cleveland Cavaliers. I thought we'd be able to assert ourselves as that third best team in the Eastern Conference, but it straight up hasn't been the case, and it's been frustrating basketball, lethargic basketball to watch as a Toronto Raptors fan, and it's been brutal. There's been a lot of criticism thrown towards the team, and now rival NBA executives don't think Masai Ujiri and the Raptors front office are happy with what's going on, just like a lot of Toronto Raptors fans are not comfortable with what's the current state of the Raptors roster and how we're playing. So report has come out that rival NBA executives are bracing for fireworks if the Toronto Raptors remain around 500, so remain around equal losses to wins for the next 2 months. So that's a report that's coming out. This is stemming from a Zach Lowe sort of podcast. This is what the article is essentially saying, that rival executives are watching Toronto closely. They're bracing for fireworks if the Raptors are hovering around 500 in 2 months. Will Masai Ujiri stick to the middle of the pack road team? With a middle of the pack road team? Does Fred VanVleet fit their vision? Can Scottie Barnes, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam be a fit long term? That was the major highlights. That's what most people have been talking about, going around Twitter when this article was sort of pushed out. But there's a deeper insight. It's coming from what's his name? Canadia 1867 did a good breakdown on the podcast, on the report that came out from Zach Lowe, basically saying that the Toronto Raptors are currently disappointed in their record, right? There's no other way to put it. Even though there's been injuries and stuff, the Raptors should have a better record at this point, given the expectations we had coming into the season. So the Raptors are currently disappointed with their record. Additionally, Fred VanVleet has been struggling this year, which we all know. He hasn't shot in 44% on twos in his entire career and has gotten even worse this season. And they question whether Masai Ujiri or Bobby Webster are okay with this team, whether they're 2 games above or 2 games below 500 after that stretch. And then you have lots of players playing similar positions. And the big one is there's curiosity bouncing around the league, right? Toronto Raptors ranked dead last in half-court scoring efficiency, clearing the glass. Per clearing the glass. You can rig possession game and all that sort of stuff, but if you can't score in the half court during the postseason, you are not going to win many games. So there's lots of issues currently happening with the Toronto Raptors, and rival NBA executives are of the belief trades could occur. And fireworks indicates pretty, not just a minor trade, not just a Malachi Flynn and a pick for Jakob Poeltl. We're talking potentially big packages going down. And the first guy I've seen a lot of people want to get traded, wanting to bring up, is Fred VanVleet, who this season, numbers are way down, man. They are brutal right now for Fred VanVleet. Only 17 points per game, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. So it doesn't look brutal on that front, but you look at the stats, 36% from the field and 33% from behind the three-point line. That is just horrific for a guy that's supposed to be an all-star level point guard, that's supposed to be a focal point of your offense. Now, do I think Fred VanVleet will be traded? No, I don't think he's a guy that's going to be in any potential packages and any potential blowups as much as Toronto Raptors fans want it to be, because there's one thing I know about Masai Ujiri and a lot of Raptors fans know. He doesn't sell low on players. The only player in his tenure with the Toronto Raptors he's ever sold low on is DeMar Carroll. And that was just getting to a point where Dwayne Casey, we had to take him away from Dwayne Casey's Arsenal because Casey loved playing that guy 35 minutes, even though he couldn't defend a pylon out there. So DeMarre Carroll was really the only guy, it feels like, from recent memory that we sold low on. You maybe argue in his first season with the Raptors, he sold low on Andrea Bargnani, even Rudy Gay to a certain extent, but those ended up being remarkable returns in those packages. So Masai Ujiri's not going to sell low on a guy like Fred VanVleet when just last season he was an all-star. Just last season he was averaging 20-plus points per game, a lot more efficient and all that sort of stuff. Fred VanVleet will not be a part of any packages. That's my take. I'm willing to put that up. But one dude that I think is our biggest trade chip, our biggest trade asset, that if we are trying to shake up the roster dramatically, and it's pretty unfortunate, is the star boy Gary Trent Jr. because he's a guy that I love. I think he's a key piece. I think he's fine coming off the bench as long as he's getting starting level minutes, and he's played a lot better. He's had a very hot start to the season, cooled off a little bit there for a stretch, but now, ever since the switch, he's been pretty good for this Raptors team, getting close to 20 points per game recently, and his stats overall for the season have been very, very solid. Right, Gary Trent Jr., 17 points per game this year, down from last season, but still 2 rebounds, 1.5 assists, but the three-point shooting percentage does have to go up, and his steals are back. He's still playing pretty solid on-ball defense, but you could argue you're selling low on Gary Trent Jr. right now, given his poor shooting output, but Gary Trent Jr. is a guy, while I love him on this roster, if we're talking fits, just like Zach Lowe sort of brought up, I think he's sort of the odd man out in terms of, being the long boy defensive lineups and stuff, and the fact that he hasn't been that effective of a shooter for us at this point. I could see Masai Ujiri saying, oh, we need a traditional big that can anchor our defense, get us more rebounds, can throw the ball to in the low block, get us some easy buckets. It does take away from the fact that Gary Trent Jr. is one of our better half-court scorers, so you could make that argument there. But I think Gary's the more likely piece to be thrown in to acquire players back because he's really our only guy of massive trade value right now that I think the Raptors would be willing to let go, just given the whole contract situation era. Now, if we do end up trading him for a guy like Jakob Poeltl, who I've seen some people call for, right? Jakob's stats don't indicate something that, I really would like to see going down with a Gary Trent Jr. deal, 13 points, 10 rebounds. He's also a free agent at the end of the season, and he's going to have to get paid in his own right. So, yes, it'd be cool to get the bromance of Yak and Skills, but I'm not giving up Gary Trent Jr. just for Jakob Poeltl back in return. No way that's happening, but I don't know what's gonna go down at this point. Yak's been the only big name we've heard in a potential return, but let me know what you guys think. Let me know what Raptors players you think could be on the trading block if they do decide to blow up this roster a little bit and make some moves and hopefully, improve this team. But the next thing we're taking a look at is some absurdity going around the internet right now, and the Scottie Barnes disrespect. It's gotten out of hand. There's no other way to put it. There's no other way to put it. On any front. I got a list out there on my phone I'm just pulling up, but yeah, I get it. The Scottie Barnes Award was given to Franz Wagner last night. That's how bad it's gotten for Scottie Barnes, especially only had 6 points against one of the league's worst NBA teams. I know they played great. I know some people roasted me in the comments for not giving Orlando their credit. You know what? I'm not giving the worst team in the NBA their credit. The Toronto Raptors came out lethargic. They gave up 2 insane runs to Orlando. Sure, they had some great plays. Sure, they had some great players. They got some young talent, but ugly stuff, and Scottie Barnes is a big reason why the Toronto Raptors lost. And you scroll through Twitter, and you just see people absolutely roasting the heck out of Scottie Barnes. They're saying they take Franz over Giddey, Cade, and Scottie. That's just a crazy take in general, but that's one of them. But Caleb Martin's better than Scottie Barnes. That's a couple tweets. I literally just went through Twitter, searched Scottie Barnes' name, and these are the first tweets I saw pop up. Scottie Barnes Rookie of the Year was a Corey Brewer 50-point game. Like, that's ridiculous. Minus 27 in a game where he's down by 8. Let's diamond test that Rookie of the Year. Can you believe people wanted to trade KD for Scottie Barnes? Like, these are the takes that are narratives that are currently swirling around Twitter. But the most egregious, the most brutal one that I saw. Now, I'm gonna keep it real. Don't listen to Thinking Basketball that much. I think they use this. They got high quality videos and stuff, but I feel like they use a lot of advanced stats sometimes. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a bit disingenuous. But especially in their podcast, they did a top 25 ranking of players under 25, and I'll just go through the list. I'll go through the list for you right now. The top 10, you get Doncic, Tatum, Shea, Morant, Zion, Darius Garland, even though I'd still take Scottie at that point. Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, who's been amazing this year. That's their top 8. Then this is where it starts getting weird when you start ranking players ahead of Scottie Barnes. Desmond Bane is currently number 9, which I know he's good. I know he's solid. The Raptors could have had him in, I think he was the pick immediately after Malachi Flynn. That one hurts a little bit, but Bane I won't roast too much. Then you got Jarrett Allen, Tyrese Maxey, DeAndre Ayton, Evan Mobley, Jaren Jackson Jr., Franz Wagner. You got Anthony Simons, Devin Vassell, Jordan Poole, Anthony Edwards at 19, which is ridiculous, and LaMelo Ball at 20. Dumb. Kevin Huerter at 21, and then Scottie Barnes at 22. Just ahead of Banchero and Vanderbilt and Michael Porter Jr. What? That is insane. That is madness. That is kazoos galore. I mean, you look at Scottie Barnes' stats this season, and sure, they're not the crazy jumps we would have liked to see. He's regressed a little bit, but still, 14 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, close to a block and a steal per night. Still 45% from the field is pretty efficient. 32% from the three-point line is still pretty solid as well, right? He's struggling given the high expectations he had coming into this year. He's not struggling when you compare him to a one-dimensional player like Kevin Huerter. That's I think it's egregious. I think it's disingenuous. I think it's absurd. I know we have a recency bias right now with Franz Wagner, but to put Franz over him is madness. To put Kevin Huerter over Scottie Barnes from a podcast that's sort of puts themselves up as like, oh, we know the most about thinking basketball, high IQ, big brain knowledge. Stupidity. Utter stupidity. So I'm not even giving it any more time of day. Stupidity. Next thing we're talking about is the Toronto Raptors falling in the power rankings. Ugly, the teams, but not as egregious, not as bad of a jump as we would have seen. They fell down one spot. I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Toronto's currently, a lot of people bring up power rankings and stuff. Most recent update, they're ranked 11. They're bringing up how there's been some inconsistencies there, that there's been a bulk of attention on Scottie Barnes, Toronto Raptors players of the last couple of years, but the most consistent this season. They gave some high praise to OG Anunoby in the power rankings article. Still, we're down behind the Sacramento Kings. We're down behind a few of these players. So, this team, they got to get some W's coming up. They have a schedule where they're facing the Orlando Magic once again, which I hope is a massive blowout. I hope we crush Orlando in the next one. Play the Kings, the Nets, the Warriors, the Sixers, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Clippers, the Grizzlies, the Suns, the Pacers, who have been really good, then the Bucks again. So up until January 4th, you got no, with the exception of the Orlando Magic game we have coming up, which should be an easy W, but it clearly hasn't been at this point, right? Like, it's we have a lot of tough games, so the Toronto Raptors need to sort of bounce back, get out of their stump. And if you want to bet on the Toronto Raptors, definitely hit up CoolBet. Use the link down below in the description. Get the best odds in terms of picking the Toronto Raptors to win. Or if you are a little bit disheartened by the Toronto Raptors game last night, you can bet against the Toronto Raptors. So definitely check out our link down below for CoolBet. It supports us big time. But the final thing we're discussing in this video is if the segments are working. Are the segments working at this point? Yes, they are. Jeff Dowtin has been balling for the Raptors 905, and once again, we have a big performance for Jeff Dowtin Jr., who, my opinion, should be getting some run on the big roster. If Malachi Flynn and Delano Banton are not in your rotation, Jeff Dowtin Jr. certainly should be, and he made another case for it. Even though the Raptors 905 lost once again last night, Jeff Dowtin Jr. had himself a game. 23 points, had 5 assists, 5 rebounds in this outing, but the efficiency has been on another level for Jeff Dowtin. 9 of 15 from the field. The three-point shooting wasn't that great in this game, but the Raptors 905 have some guys. Champagnie, Jeff Dowtin, both had solid games. Yeah, Justin Champagnie Poppy, 25 and 13. They've been taking some L's there, the 905, but you want to see your star players thriving on those squads. So get Jeff Dowtin Jr. some minutes. That's my final take on this podcast. But folks, if you're enjoying the content, definitely hit that subscribe button. Again, I'll plug it again. Use our link down below. Sign up for CoolBet. It's absolutely free, and it's supporting the podcast. If you made it this far, right? sign your name up to Coolback. Click the link, and we might be getting some futures for if you think Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent Jr. might be traded. So you know, use our link down below. Get added to the Cool Bears chat. And you can predict games. But anyways, that's enough of me rambling. I'm signing out. Cheers.